and welcome to Design It with Tammy Gibbs. I'm Tammy.
And today I am going to be jumping into my Etsy store and bringing you along for the ride. So recently, there have been a lot of questions. I've had a few people in my group that have been concerned about the fees cost for having a whole pile of listings over, like 100, 200, 300 listings, and having them in slower times, which all of us have ups and downs in our store. It's just the nature of retail and the nature of Etsy. So a lot of times we have to look at how we can manage our businesses the best way. So I'm going to give you a few ideas on some creative ways to eliminate some of those fees without deactivating all those listings you worked really hard to get. So when I'm looking at things, I'm looking at number one, what listings have not gotten any sales and are not actually getting any visibility. Because number one, if you're not getting sales on an item, in my case, it would be invitations, or some of my clip art, or maybe a wall art or something. So if I'm not getting any visibility, which means people aren't even looking at it, then that kind of goes in one category, okay? When I'm assessing my own or whatever, my own shop. So if I have a package that is not getting views, then I put it in one category, okay? If I have a product that is getting views but no sales, I put it in a different category. And then all the ones that have gotten sales, I look at how many views and I try to determine, okay, so did I make sales on this because it got a lot of views, and so it just had that energy behind it because more people saw it and the odds increased for it to sell? Or did I sell with a low number of views anyway, and this is just a really good product? So if I got more eyes on it, then that would mean I probably would sell even more of them. So I put that in a category. Anything that is selling, I leave it because somebody has found it and somebody liked it, okay? So I put that category to the side and do nothing with it. Okay. Later, I may just try to determine if I should run some sort of ads, if I should maybe share it on Facebook or somewhere around to increase the views since it's already a popular product, okay? So then now we're looking at items that have potentially not gotten a lot of views, or the ones that have gotten the views but they are not selling, okay? You're going to have products, and I'm not going into my back. I'm just going to kind of show you some potential. So these are not necessarily because I'm not looking up their numbers. I know certain things that have sold and certain ones that are older inventory. But see, what happens is we're told to list every day. We're told to generate this energy with our stores. And we are told by many of the coaches that we need to have more and more and more inventory, because if we don't have the inventory, we can't gain the momentum. And I have to agree that until I have 234 items in my store right now, I'm still building. I literally have not been doing this but a little tiny bit over a year. And during that time, I had there was a hurricane in my town. There was a tornado in my town. Let's see, I had 3 months worth of kidney stone issues where I was back into the emergency room, and my dad was sick. I was sick. Life happened, and so I was not able to put the energy into my store. And what I put my energy into was my YouTube channel and helping other people, because that was a little bit simpler for me to do. Yes, I built the store up and I did build some inventory, but I was not able to post every day. I was not able to create every day because life happened. So, and that's another thing, that the more we build up when we can build, the better it is, because sometimes we can't. And the whole point of doing something with passive income is the whole passive part of it. So at some point, we need to be able to get our stores to and our products to the point where it is more passive. And that doesn't mean completely going hands off, because you're still going to have to maintain your store. You're still going to have to answer messages, keep everything flowing. But we should be able to take a break from our store for a day, to go out and do something fun. We should be able to not have to worry about that. So it's all about putting those systems into place that allow us to do that. And we have to put in the grudge work up front to do that. So rather than getting upset because we haven't reached a milestone, let's jump in and let's be proactive to identify what we can to change that. Okay. So this is a creative way to look at it. I don't like for anybody to spend all that time making and getting up to 300 or 400 listings and then deciding I can't afford to maintain those listings. So I'm going to go and deactivate them, because I will tell you, having been a marketer and sold things all my life, you cannot sell something that is not out there for sale. It doesn't happen. So if you've already put your energy into those products, then what you need to do is look at your excess inventory and figure out something else to do with it. If it's not selling as clip art, let's change that product. Let's take that clip art pack and make something else. Would it sell as digital? Could you change it and do some fussy cuts with it? It'd take a few minutes to transform that. Okay. So that's one idea. Make fussy cuts with old clip art. Try to sell it that way. Also, can you take that old clip art pack? Now, I'm not saying don't offer the clip art pack. I'm actually not even saying that. I'm saying that these are just additional ways that you can use your inventory to try to, you may lose some numbers as far as the listings, but in the long run, your listings will still be there in a different form. Okay. So you'll have to gauge which clip art is applicable for that sort of thing. So let's look at some of my things, and I'll just give you some ideas on how I could repurpose these. I may or may not do it, because right now the store's okay. I can afford to have them exactly the way they are. But I want everything to sell, so I'm still always looking for ways to do that. So let's just look at a few of my packs, okay? So I have a really large pack here that is relatively new, so it would stay the same. But if you had a similar pack like this, then what could you do with this pack? Okay, so you could actually take some of the images inside and you could create an invitation. Let's just imagine that this pack, it says happy birthday. So this could be your happy birthday thing. So could you take your own pack? Could you take the images in it? And could you create a birthday invitation, a welcome sign, all those things that you think people could use your pack for anyway? Could you do gift tags? Could you do some other things utilizing them and then list that as a pack? Or you could, take the whole thing, take this whole gift pack here or clip art pack here, and you could turn, like, for instance, some of these images would be really super cute for t-shirt decals, potentially even for a birthday. You could make other items, and then you could blow this pack out into a lot of different products, by utilizing your own art. Because a lot of times as clip art creators, we sometimes don't use our own clip art for other products. Now I do. I use a lot of mine. In fact, two of my best-selling invitations actually feature some of my clip art. And I'm actually surprised that that clip art does not sell as well as the invitation. Go figure, if it doesn't sell in one way, create another product. I'm also a believer, and I know a lot of people disagree, but I can't manage multiple stores right now. As long as it's something they can print out, I feel like it can fit in here. I mean, invitations and clip art and crafting and all that kind of stuff. We have categories that we can put those in. What people see when they first come in our store, we can actually customize, so we can still make it look fairly departmentalized if we want to go in and do that. I haven't done it lately. I do need to do that, but I haven't lately. But right now I have lots of different things. I have ebooks and different things. So, okay, so let's just look like my florals and stuff. If your florals are taking up too much room, bundle them together. Like bundle a fall bundle of florals, and then sell that. That actually is bumping up your potential profit for that item, but it's also allowing you to cut down on your listing fees. So if your listing fees are the problem, then look for ways that you can potentially combine some things and bundle them up. It's better, y'all. It's really better to at least keep it out there, because if somebody really wanted those sunflowers and you only offered it in a bundle, they probably would message you, and then you could, if you wanted to create a special listing for them and then deactivate it later, whatever you wanted to do, it just opens up the opportunities. What's going to happen if you deactivate them and they're all in a deactivated folder is you can't sell that product, period. You're not going to make a dime off of it, and all your work is going to be lost. So it's better to have it in a different form, and then you can always break it back apart. Chances are, and this is the way I would handle it, if I were doing that, I would allow myself to create a new listing folder. Like if you're putting it on Dropbox or whatever, I would go in, I would not mess with my actual listing, as far as, like, I kind of keep it where I could at some point in time, uh, reactivate that as a single image if I were going to eliminate it, so you can deactivate it, but replace it, take the same thing and replace it in this new product. So if you merge 3 of your products, then you have eliminated 20, 40, 60 cents per, however, no, you've eliminated, if you combine 3, then you've eliminated 40 cents in renewal fees, by doing it that way. So if you put 10 things together, then you're saving a lot of other things. But I would still keep them where you could reactivate them as single packs or whatever. I hope that's making sense. But anyway, I wouldn't undo the work you already did, so that it would make it easier just to go back in and reactivate that single listing. But I wouldn't completely remove them from the store, if that makes sense. And I also would not do any of this in bulk, because I don't really think Etsy likes that. I think that probably dings you in a way if you go in and you deactivate 100 or 200 listings at one time. And if you've done this, then you probably could answer that question better than I could. But just knowing how algorithms, even if you don't know the formula, but the basic way that they work, that to me is like this is a liquidation thing. Just think about it like this. If you went in and you did all of that, that's just like if you have a really big sale in a brick and mortar and you mark everything down super duper cheap, but you get rid of half of your store, and then you have empty shelves everywhere. Everyone thinks you're going out of business, even if you're not. Even if you're just clearing the way for new inventory, the public is still going to perceive that as you're going out of business. And so since the public can't really see that you're doing that, but maybe they can, maybe they visit your shop or they look at your shop and you don't even know it. You don't know, who is and who isn't coming back regularly to see what new things you list. and you have regular customers that perhaps, were looking, and then all of a sudden the next week when they go in to see if you've got anything new listed, your inventory has dropped by half. So just some things to think about before you make major decisions when you've worked so hard to build these up. So replace it with something, and make sure that people know that even if you've cut down the listings, you still have you're putting out new things. Okay. So anyway, let's look at mine and let's get some other further ideas on how you can use your clip art and how you can use your other products to bundle them together or do whatever. So when I'm looking, a lot of times I just design things because I really like to design them. And I design somewhat to trends, but they may not fit in a trend. Like, for instance, and this is just a real look at what the thoughts are. Okay. This patchwork bears. Okay. They are precious, and they're relatively inexpensive. But if I am a creator and I have a budget, that I need to meet, am I going to just buy these patchwork bears? So do I spend $2 and even $2.99 to make one invitation? Or what else would I do with these bears? Do I need every single one? And I think this is where it comes in that a lot of people will do the single images, is because a lot of times you may not, in a packet, maybe a pretty packet, maybe a pretty presentation. But practically speaking, when creators that don't create their own images are looking to purchase, are they purchasing packs that they can rationalize why they've created that pack? For instance, and I know a lot of people say, oh, it's overwhelming to get tons of images for cheap, or we think the quality is not going to be good. Honestly, I don't know that I buy that, because I know that I'm a frugal shopper. And I know that when I was purchasing in the past to create with, I always looked at the bundles that had a lot of value for what I was paying for it. I may not have been going to use all the images in that pack at one time, but I knew that I could use it for different things. Like, for instance, this Babies in Bloom has 98 pieces for $5.99. Okay, to me that's a pretty good deal, because I could see a creator using these images, and let's just go through some of them. I know a lot of people have seen my images before, but they usually only see like the cover and they don't see all the individual images that are in there. But with all of these different types of images, there's a lot of potential for what you could use these images for to create with. There's lots of invitations you could create. There's lots of party items that you could, create. There's even, things that you could take and pull out, for instance, like the bears or these things right here. You could put this on a cute little t-shirt, and that would be really cute. A lot of these items would be really cute on t-shirts for little girls, or, that sort of thing. You could put them on a tote bag. There's a lot of things. You could do gift cards, gift tags. You've got the balloons, and the balloons you could take out and build the florals. You could build borders with. There's just so many things you could do with that clip art. And so $5.99 would be a pretty good value to a creator that wants to work in these colors, and this theme. And so that would be a really good buy. Now, let's look at some other things. Let's look at some that I think would be maybe less likely that someone would want to do that. Now, see, this is another one that has a lot of potential. These have a lot of potential. These have a lot of potential, because it has a variety of things. Now, these are just some of my tags and stuff. Let's get to some more clip art. Okay. So let's just, now this one has 162 pieces. This is an amazing Valentine bundle. It has a ton of things. And it basically has, this is one of the bigger bundles where it has all of the individual packs. Now, I have the bundle, but in order to, and this is another thing that, and I'm not disagreeing with the coaches for saying this because I do understand what the concept is. The concept and the reason they tell you to continue to create and build your stores out to have so many items is along the way, the process gives you opportunity to identify good sellers. So out of all of those, you're going to have certain things that are just going to hit right. It's an odds game. And I say this a lot in my group. It is an odds game. It's not that every single item in your store, if you get 400 or 1,000 items, it's not that those items are going to sell, all of them. You're going to have a bunch that don't sell at all. But it's the fact that you have continued to create, which meant you multiplied your chances and your odds. If you have 10 items in your store, you have a 1 in 10 chance that, one of those items is going to sell most of the time. Actually, it may even be less than that, but they know that the more that you have 10 chances when you have 10 items to sell. When you have 1,000 items in the store, you have 1,000 opportunities for something or multiples to sell. So it is all about the statistics and the odds. So like for this particular package, you see all the little packages in here. Okay, so let's be real, okay? Let's get really real about selling and what sells and what doesn't and why somebody would buy something. So let's look at this. Has all of these packs in it. But let's look. I actually am paying 20 cents each for each of these smaller packs. And, they're not very expensive and they can sell, and they have sold some of them. But the odds of someone wanting 14 images of lovebirds or 15 images of owls or ducks, maybe. But what I find is that most of the time when you have a smaller pack like this and they are very specialized, like all of these are turtles and, whatever it's specialized. Now, this is a bundle that, it's 50 and it's sayings and it's different things like that. You could utilize that if you're a creator and making products. You can utilize that for a lot of different things, okay? Now, when you get down to these images, most people are going to like one or two of those items, and they would, if they really like them well enough, they will buy them just to get those one or two images out. So for us, yes, we can do the single images, but then that's 20 cents per each. So what do we really do in that situation? Do we, how important is it? Can you afford that 20 cents every 4 months or however long it is? I forget because I don't pay any attention. But can you afford that? Or is your store making enough that the renewals don't just really, it's not a lot of money every 4 months. And if you had a brick and mortar store, you would pay a lot more to keep your inventory out there. But I understand that when you're on a shoestring budget and you're trying to get your big break and find that perfect product that's going to really cement you into the Etsy ecosystem and start really selling, you have to be a lot more conscientious about your choices. So I'm just being real with you. I'm just giving you some real advice and some real practical ways to look at things, okay? So this is my audit. This is what I'm auditing myself, And so anyway, so let's look at some other things. Like I said, pull out the images. Nothing should ever go on the in the wastebasket per se. these images that you spend so much time creating, some are going to be better than others. Some are going to have more potential than others. I have a lot of images I don't ever put in a pack or anything. But if I went back and they're already created, I could probably find a way to use them. Like I said, I do invitations and there's a lot of other things I want to do. And so anyway, so you have so many different things. Like here is really, to me, a great pack because it has 130 different images, and all of these images are different. I mean, they're bunnies, but they are a bit different. It's a really good creator pack. Here's some patriotic bunnies. I have veggie bunnies and Christmas bunnies. This is a whole seasonal thing, along with other things like bath time bunnies and bedtime bunnies and ballet bunnies. So this pack to me is a great creator pack. It would allow a creator to have a lot of different items that they could create with this pack. So, and a lot of these did come from some smaller packs. I have one I know with the patriotic bunnies and the bath bunnies and the stuff like that. But we definitely need to start looking at how we compile our packages and whether we're giving the creators a reason to purchase them. Now, see, these are some really cute bandana bears, and I have them in different colors. But in reality, if I wanted to conserve cost and save some money, I would take all of the different colored bandana bears, and put them in a package together, like a little bundle. And then I would save the individual bandana bear. Why do I want them? I'm really hooked on bunnies right now because it's near Easter. But anyway, I could combine those, and then I would have 120 cent as compared to, like, paying 4 at a time, because I did create these kind of along the same time. But that's just, see, here's my patriotic bunnies right there from that pack. But I mean, now this I probably could see because people could do different wall art or whatever with the different versions. But there's some, y'all, that just don't even make sense for us to even have. Like, for instance, if I wanted to, let's just say if I weren't selling these little crest frame things, I could do a whole kit that's nothing but the frames, and it would sit, and I could pop them up there and make them a price that would be kind of the same thing. And I would be creating a product that has a higher profit margin with least amount of work. All of these are already done. It'd be really easy to link them up. There are some things that just could definitely work together. For instance, I could bump these together, the bird baths and the bird houses. These actually sell on their own, but if I wanted to create another product, I could mix those together. The doors and the frames, there's a lot of ways we can combine things that would make sense. Like I said, if you do florals, but maybe florals aren't selling individually for you, why not group some together in a spring pack and a fall pack, and then like a Christmas pack, and then save yourself the money, but still have them out there available for people to purchase. It will be a tiny bit of work, but you're going to be making new listings anyway, and it is just a way that, like I said, you can put together some things that make sense for you, and it would kind of if you're trying to declutter your store and you just feel like you have a lot of too much of the wrong products, take those wrong products, put them together in something else to make it a right product and then go from there. That's just like, perhaps during the off season for Christmas, you decided to create a huge creator pack with all, a lot of your, depending on how many you have, a lot of your Christmas things, and then you can price it whatever. It doesn't mean that you have to deeply discount it. It's just a matter of merging it together into a different new product. And then that would be something like for instance, I have a lot of Scandi Christmas things. I could group all those together if I wanted to into one package. And then I could sell that for more money. People that are working on off season to get ready for the season, it'd be a good value for them because they could get a lot of things in one place. And also, some people completely deactivate their holidays. But instead of deactivating your holidays, why not put it into more like a little mini store bundle or mini holiday bundle or something, and make that like, this is from such and such, or this is a pre-pack for the 2025 Christmas season or holiday season or whatever. And just kind of go from there. And like, for instance, if I wanted to, I tried my hand at some t-shirt transfers. And to be honest with you, I haven't really hit into that market yet. I have some cute ones, but I haven't really hit that yet. So what do I do with these? Do I leave them the way they are? Or does that 20-cent relisting fee for something that's not producing, is that a problem for me? If it's a problem for me, I could take and bundle, several different shirt designs together into a little bundle and then do away with the individual listings for now. So there is just so many things that you can do. I have some wall art and I have some postcards for moving these were actually some of my very, very first products that I listed in the store. And contemplated because I've sold some, but not as many. I'm just not, my foothold is not in those categories really. But now I have sold some of the little moving postcards and stuff. These are some of the only designs that I did not create the clip art for. So anyway, and I have some save the dates and some wedding invitations. But anyway, I hope this has been a helpful video for you, because I know that it is a common problem right now, especially with beginner sellers that, just they haven't gotten there quite yet. If your store is not consistent sales yet, it can definitely be an issue when all of those relisting items relist in your store and you're just hit with a huge, amount of money because you've listed a lot of things and they're just not selling yet. But the thing about it is that if you transfer that into a different energy, and like I said, you start combining some things, you already have the means for bundles, whether they make a lot of sense to you or not. Anything can be bundled under the proper theme. A holiday, you can have lots of things that don't necessarily match, but they are all holiday, can go in a bundle. You can have a seasonal bundle, spring, winter, fall, summer. You can have a bundle that's all animals or toys, or food stuff or kitchen items or bathroom buddies, like all of the, I have some bears taking bath, bath time bears. I have bath time bunnies. You could really, bath time ducks. You could make a pack or a bundle with all of the bath time things. So that way, if somebody's doing a bath theme, they can do that. And again, it's just all about whether you're doing the individuals or you want to take some of your, it's not really a backlist, that's kind of for books, but some of your less performing or non-performing, let's dial down to non-performing packages, and then throw them in and make something of value that people would do. You can also, it will not eliminate the fee, but it might make them sell. If you have some that are borderline and they've sold some, but they maybe have stopped selling or whatever, put a big sale on those and stick them under a category to the side, a little section for, um, deep discount or sale or however you want to do it. A lot of you that don't do clip art, but maybe let's just say you do party invitations and party things like cupcake things and all that kind of stuff. I've been working with one of the gals in my group that does party invitations, and she has some that are not performing like the others do. So one of the ideas that I came up with for her was to do a value pack. Y'all, I mean, the world is kind of in a mess right now. Everybody is, whether it happens or not, we've been in kind of some inflationary times in the US, and I know all around the world everyone is getting a little more frugal. So we don't sell medical supplies or food. So we are not necessarily going to be something that's going to be high on the priority list. So I believe and anticipate that in the coming months, we're probably going to see a downturn, in Etsy and how much is sold on Etsy and that sort of thing. However, just because that's happening does not mean that you can't be successful and you can't find your niche. You just have to be aware of it and not blind to the fact that a lot of the population is going to be cutting back. So maybe we do have to work on our prices a little bit. But I'm going to go back to, I know, no, we don't want to underprice ourselves, but let me let you in on a secret. Okay, so I am a published fiction author. I write time travel romance. I have 3 published novels. Check them out if you want. I'll actually put a link to them in the description so you can go if you like to read. Love for you to check out a couple of my books. Anyway, so I have nonfiction and fiction books, but my first book, let me just put everything into perspective for you. Because I hear all the time, oh, but I've invested this amount of time in my product, in my clip art. It took me blah, blah, blah. Okay. So let me bring you into the real world and give you a different perspective to look at. Yes, we don't want to be the cheapest one on the block. However, some of the ones that are pricing their things cheap are selling thousands of them, and they are still making a lot more money than you are. So, no, we don't want to cheapen our products, but we want to be realistic. And if we have to cut, we cut because we create from our cutting new customers. Okay. And so, in times like this, but let me put this into perspective. So, it took me 20 years off and on to write my first book because I didn't sit down and just write it all the way through. I wrote it and I polished and I did all these things, with it. And I mean, it paid out off in the end, it paid off. My first book actually made it to the #1 bestseller in Gothic romance on Amazon. And it was my very first book. I didn't have a lot of money behind it. Most of it was organic. And, I felt like for a first book, it did really well. It still sells today, not as much because not as many people know about it. I'm not out there actively promoting it. But it took me 20 years of work and labor and babying and polishing and critiques and all of this stuff for 20 years before it got out there. And at one time, on Amazon, a big thing are the 99-cent books. A lot of people, especially if you're a new author, so I literally would make maybe 70 cents on that book. Okay, do your math as to how many books you have to sell to make money at 70 cents, okay? But you can make money. If you sell a million at 70 cents, you're going to make a lot of money. Okay, so it's not about, it's not as much of it. There's two ways to make money. Either you sell a product that is higher priced and you sell less of them, or you sell something that is cheaper but you sell millions of them, basically. You sell lots of them. So it's quantity sales. So just ask yourself when you're buying things, what exactly is it? Like, what is your price point that's under? Is it $2 and under? Is it $20 and under? My mom, she's the funniest thing, but my mom has a little spending thing. If it costs $20 or less, she doesn't give a lot of thought about it. If she likes it, she grabs it. That's just her thing. She's worked hard. My dad's worked hard. They have done well. They've helped us. And they're older now. They don't have as many expenses. So if we go out and we're shopping and it's $20 or less, that's her budget to just kind of buy it. And I mean, it's not like she goes out and buys 40 items at $20 when we go shopping, but that's just her little thing. Now, if it costs over that, it doesn't mean she won't buy it. It's just that she's going to think on that a little bit longer. So what personally is your little cutoff of what you feel like is disposable and that you don't have to think about it? Your impulse purchase limit. A lot of people's is going to be less than yours, and some are going to be more. So, what you want to do is try to find that perfect price that people don't have to think a lot about. You want to over deliver your value, and you definitely want to be someone that impresses people enough that you can drive your reviews. The one interesting thing, even before I put the playbooks out, my store already had started gaining momentum. I reached the almost perfect 1 year mark. Things had begun to be more and more consistent with all my other products. The playbooks definitely helped because they are what I call an anchor or a flagship product. And that's also something you need to be looking for is a product that's going to stand out, something you can go outside of Facebook out of Facebook, go outside onto Facebook or other places in social media, and you can bring people in using your share and save link and drive some traffic to your store, because that's also going to help you with your store. It's going to help you because if you're bringing a lot of people to come and look at your products, and you have a few of them buy some things, like if you already sell them off of Etsy and they come to buy on Etsy, you brought Etsy a customer, they may end up buying something else after they buy your product. So they look at that and their algorithm treats that favorably. And what I found was, even though I sent a lot of traffic to my Etsy store to purchase the playbook, when I looked at the figures, the number of people that were buying that weren't using my link, and the ones that were just finding it organically on Etsy were surprisingly, Etsy was feeding it out because I was also feeding people into the store. So that's another angle that, you need to look at. So anyway, I think I've given you quite a few ideas on how you can potentially look at your store with some new eyes, look at your pricing, look at do your own audit. I call it a common sense audit. And then maybe you can take and turn some non-productive, non-selling items into new items. And whether that be bunching them together into some bundles, or whether it means taking some of the images out of those packs and then going ahead and creating different products with them. There's just a lot of possibilities, and I'm sure that if you sit there and think enough, you can probably come up with some very unique ideas all of your own on how you can use your inventory and your products to expand. Think about junk journals, think about party invitations and party supplies. Think about all these different things and how people normally would use those images, and if the images themselves are not selling that way, turn them into products that they will sell on. Another way that you can potentially benefit from them, and it's not on Etsy, but look into some of the print on demand companies. I have not done this yet. I will be adding it this year because I don't have the time to make those t-shirts and all those other products. I probably will put some of my images on some of them, even though you do not make a whole lot off your potential, your profit on it is not going to be as much as what their percentage is going to be, because they are fulfilling it, printing it, and they are delivering it. They're doing all of the work that way, and all you're doing is uploading your designs. So, I mean, if it can be another stream of income for you to let one or two of your images, or however many you want to put out there, be on products. And a lot of times you can take those and they'll turn them into different things. You take one image and they can turn them into gift wrap and shower curtains and stuff. I'm not about to be going out there and setting up to do shower curtains, but my images may look good on a shower curtain, or a baby, layette set, whatever. So this is just a way that you can still use your images, and you can put them out there for more people to look at. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this segment all about Etsy and all about auditing your store, and about saving some money and putting yourself in a position to make more money all at the same time. If you don't have my playbooks, I think they're a great value if you're creating your art with AI and you want to learn how to step outside of what everybody else is doing and begin to formulate your own styles and create your art at a different level. Then I think those are wonderful resources. I have volume 1 and volume 2. And if you've watched the videos, you know all about them. If not, go down, check out the link, and check them out, read about them. If you have questions, leave the questions for me in the comments, and I'll get back with you and try to answer those for you. I design with Artistly, so of course I have my affiliate link down in there as well as some other really neat links. I would love to have you in my community on Facebook. Feel free to join my group, Design It, on Facebook. And I have a link to that as well. We would love to welcome you into the group. And thanks for watching. I love doing the videos, and I love hearing that they've helped someone with me just sharing, what I know with you. So I hope you'll continue to watch. I hope you will like and follow, and you will share the channel with all of your friends on all of your groups so that they can find me as well. And I'll just see you next time. Have a great day and happy creating.
Hi, and welcome to Design It with Tammy Gibbs. I'm Tammy.